Ken, who have we got first here?
We got Steve Puvalowski.
Okay, and Steve, where are you from?
Auburn, Michigan.
Cool. And what kind of business?
It's a 3/8 mile dirt racetrack.
Oh, yeah. Well, you and I were talking about that. That's very cool. Okay, and your question, sir, or comment?
How to build a culture and delegate to my team of 50 employees that I see 1 day a week, 20 times a year. They're my front of my business, and I want them to be able to make decisions and portray my vision to the public coming in.
Training. You see them 1 day a week, and you said once a year? 20 times a year, 1 day a week. Okay. Then they're part-time team members. And how do you train a part-time team member in any situation? Training. And culture is what happens when they're there, that they're expected to act and do and be a certain way while they're there, just like we've been talking about culture all week in here. That's not any different. But training. An experience I happened to have 2 weeks ago, I was in, or it was last week. Time flies when you're having fun. I was in Oklahoma City, and I was invited by the general manager of the Thunder to come down. And they're an NBA team, and they win, I was told while I was touring the place, they win customer service. The Customer Service Award, #1 NBA team for customer experience, customer service every year for the last several years. And so what are they doing? They're training people for game night, and a lot of part-timers coming in. Food people, security people, ushers, all of that kind of thing, and it's a culture. So all of what they do, they've modeled after Disney somewhat, that when you're anywhere in the public eye of the experience of going to the Thunder, as a team member, you're on stage. And if you're back somewhere getting a tray or something, you're off stage or backstage. And so when you go out the doors onto the onstage, into the public area, there's all kinds of signage. No gum, no food, chewing, smile, look, ask people, initiate how you can serve, how you can help. And there's all kinds of icons and things all over the backstage area, teaching. And they have a very intense training program. So when you go in there, it creates a very specific experience. And it's almost all done by part-timers. And so you've got a set of full-timers that are controlling, groups of these folks, whether it's promotions and the things that happen on the court with the mascot and the T-shirts and all that, or the dance teams or whatever it is, or whether it's the people taking the ticket. Sometimes you have volunteers working the concession stands, working for a charity. They have to go through training to do that because they're part of the customer of the Thunder experience. And so they're really all about the experience, and they've got a bazillion things they're doing. So you just do it that way. You just create this whole ambiance, this whole event backstage, so that everyone has a real clear expectation of what happens on stage. And that's the phrasing. If you ever visit Disney and go backstage, you get the exact same thing. Everything that's out where the public is called on stage, and you have to be in character. If you're Snow White, you are Snow White completely all the time. Never break character ever until you go through the doors. And, and then all of a sudden you're a regular person again, so to speak. And you can't, just because it's an adult talking to you, you're still Snow White. You're on stage. And that was a very Disney-esque thing, and the Thunder took some of the pages from that. But you could do the exact same thing. I was over at Bristol, and they're very intentional, speaking of racing, about race day experience. And they use a lot of part-timers, a lot of traffic, a lot of that kind of stuff. And people directing traffic in is part of the experience, all of that. So lots of training. And lots of laying the culture experience in place would be my answer overall. Now, having given that answer, that's a lot of work, and there's a lot of detail to that. But it'll be worth it because you'll grow, and your brand will grow because people come to things like that to have an experience, not to have a frustration. And how many of us go to sporting events, restaurants, theme parks, and instead of having an experience, sometimes we have a frustration? I mean, I've gone to football games where, going through security, I thought I was getting put in jail. And I was actually being frisked by people who just came out of jail. I mean, it's horrendous, the horrible experience in a sporting event versus what I walked through at the Thunder the other day, and you see why they're winning at that. By the time I got to my seat, I actually do know who won the game that night. It wasn't the Thunder, sadly, but I was so enamored with the whole place, the game was irrelevant. But it was a business part for me, too, because I got to see all the inner workings, and I was jazzed. It was a cool experience. So, but that has application to what you're talking about, for sure, and I think it'll work.